Good evening, everybody. It's Jeff from Charting Horse Value. How's everyone doing? I still got the cheesy, generic 30-second countdown. One of these days, I'll have a nice little video to start everything off with. But it's a good evening, and I'm happy to have Vinny here from Racing Dynasty. Correct?
Yeah. Dynasty picks. I've been around Twitter for a while, so
yeah, you're a famous group. And you guys got some good picks, and I'm always looking forward to interacting with new people and comparing products and sharing our contacts and seeing if we can help each other, win-win kind of deals. And this, thank you so much for coming on for this. First of all, last week was a disaster, all my fault. But thank you for coming back. Thank you for handicapping Gulfstream with me. I actually think it's a pretty interesting Friday of racing.
It is, and thanks for having me. Always happy to talk horses with people. This Gulfstream card, actually, I was pleasantly surprised because I haven't really looked too much at Gulfstream this winter, and I was pretty surprised by this card, actually.
Yeah, I've been doing well Gulfstream this winter. My winter so far has sucked. Not happy with it, but at Gulfstream I've done well. I won one tournament, and then on Wednesday I took third in a tournament, and I've only entered like 2 or 3. So
nice.
I'm actually doing quite well at Gulfstream. Hopefully I can do it again. But yeah, so let's go ahead. Let's get into this card. Let's talk about the horses we like and where we see value, if there is any. And I'm going to give you the honors of race 1. Tell me who you're looking at.
Race 1, $100,000 stake, 5 furlongs, and yeah. I don't like the morning line price on Katori on the 8 horse.
Yeah,
but horse looks to be the speed of the speed, and at 5 furlongs, it's always dangerous.
Yes,
that was kind of where I really wanted to play against this one, but then Saez jumps on, who's just remarkable right now at Gulfstream. It's a tough chalk to beat, in my opinion, to start the day.
Yeah. And you like anything else besides the chalk there?
Yeah, Extravagant Kid is one I think you have to respect. He won the Grade 1 in Dubai last year. Hasn't really been great since, but he's also running the Golden Pal his last 2 races. He always seems to fire. I mean, you can take away the turf, you can take away that Breeders' Cup turf sprint from November because nobody did any running besides Golden Pal. But I mean, he's just a classy horse, and on class alone, like he would, in my opinion, he would be the value here if he stays around 3-1. I have a hard time believing he doesn't get bet down at least a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. So let me show you. Let me go back to the website here. Let me show you what I've been looking at. So most of my customers, of course, are intimately familiar with this thing. They're sorted top to bottom as one order of preference. And in that order of preference, Extravagant Kid is on top and gets this very unique little S for spot play. Those don't happen very often. And in fact, we'll see today how many times it happens. In fact, this is the only time it happens all day. So it's a pretty solid bet. I mean, I agree the form on the 6 is a little disappointing. But I was looking back, and if you go way back in the past performance, you go back to September of 2020. I know that's a long way to go back. But in that race, Extravagant Kid took second, losing to Diamond Oops by a neck. And Kiratari was nowhere to be found. Anyway, this is a lot better horse than Kiratari's been facing. All right. So I know that, boy, that 9th, 8 lengths back looks pretty darn bad. But if you look before that, the horse won the Alcaz, took third by 2 lengths in the King's Stand, took second by 2 lengths in the Woodford, and then really ran badly. This $100,000 spot. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a confidence booster from the trainer, but coming in with a really good work at Prairie Meadows. This is my pick. I got no problem with people taking Karatari, and I think even XY Speed is another horse people could look at. But that's how I see it. We kind of see it the same way, I think.
Yeah, XY Speed would be my, if you don't like the first two, that's kind of your next best option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Extravagant Kid. My only issue is that his last, like, while the last one was, again, like, the last one wasn't great at all and nobody moved in that Breeders' Cup race. His race before that, even though it was against Golden Pal, there wasn't much in that besides him.
Mm-hmm.
But on class alone, I think he should be the horse to beat, just the way that these 5 furlong sprints tend to go, though. If Qatari gets out by herself, which I'm not so sure how good XY Speed is to stay. So that's kind of my only concern. But I agree with you. Value purposes, Extravagant Kid's the play.
Yeah, it gets $19 of value in my value column. And Karatari is a little bit of an underlay when I look at the morning line. So I'm going Extravagant Kid. It's not a very exciting pick, but all right. So I'll start us off with race 2, and hopefully I got some better ones coming up later. But I got a very boring pick in here, which is Trapezoid. Let me look at the past performances on Trapezoid, see what I can talk about. Well, first of all, the horse is 5 for 10 in 2021 with 3 seconds. So 8 times in the exacta. And one of the times the horse didn't hit the exacta was in this mile claiming crown race. Chantel knows the horse really well. I think you can make an argument for Hero Tiger and Brasstown as well. I think any of those 3 make complete sense, and it's very hard to pick between the 3 of them. But I'm leaning towards Trapezoid. That's what my sheet's saying as well. And what do you think?
So I actually landed on Brasstown, just because I think he's at this mile distance, he seems to run well at it. He's he's 10 for 13 in the money at the mile distance. He's got 5 wins at Gulfstream. He's 14 for 19 in the money at Gulfstream. My one big issue with Trapezoid is that his seems like his speed figures that really put him above everybody else, they came in the slot back in September and October. Yeah. If you cross those 2 races out, which, I mean, he won both easily, but if you cross those 2 races out, I don't think this horse should be 7-5 on a fast start. That's really my only reason for not having him on top, and why I went with Brasstown on top.
Yep.
The only other horse that I liked in there, though, I mean, I think he's, for exotic plays, though, like I wrote in my notes that I was going to key Trapezoid for second and hope that I can pick one of the 2 that beat him. Brasstown was the first one, and I actually went to the outside horse with Blessed Journey.
Okay.
Just seems like the only horse that wants to make up ground late. Everybody else kind of seems like they want to be right on the pace or set the pace, and he seems to be the one that kind of can pass horses late.
Yep.
So if it does get fast and for some reason it melts down, I think he's the logical one to come from the back, and he likes Gulfstream. But outside of those 3, I didn't think I really didn't like anybody else in this race. Like I drew a line through Hero Tiger. If that horse beats me, he beats me personally.
Yeah. Well, the horse looked awful good going a mile 2 back, won by 5 lengths, beat both our horses, Trapezoid and Brasstown. It was 7-1. But
he did.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky race, no doubt about that. You see on my little sheet, it gets a little 1 over here for how good it is to bet on. So that's basically lousy, and that's basically because there's no value over here. It's a tricky race. if I was playing this, I'd be watching the tote. And I like your Blessed Journey underneath, though. I do agree with you. That horse could lug up into second. I don't know if I like that horse on top, but that horse definitely is the best closer.
Yeah, in my notes, if I was playing like an early pick 4 or pick 5 here, this is a race actually I would just try to single Brasstown and hope I'm right.
Okay.
Because I feel like this is a race where if you're not gonna, either people are gonna single trapezoid or they're just gonna spread. So I would just try to single here and just hope that I'm right.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I had in my notes here, was that I was gonna single the 4.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know where I'd rank the 4. I'd probably rank the 4 third behind the 3 and 1, but certainly up in the. It's very much a toss-up between those 3, and if one of those drifted up in price, that would be a big factor for me.
Right.
I probably wouldn't single in this race. If I was going to single, honestly, I actually like that 6 in race 1 as a single, but I understand I'm taking a little bit of a shot there. All right, so race 3, I'll give you the honors again. We're talking maiden claiming on the Tapeta, going a mile 16ths.
I got a boring pick in this one. I went with the favorite, Lanacase. I don't even know how to say it. Lanacase Storm.
Yeah, it's a strange spelling. I don't know if they're talking about the city in Hawaii or, but because that would be Lanakai, but it's not spelled right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's a very logical pick.
Yeah, I just didn't see where. This is one of those races where you got a horse dropping down who's run all right on the surface already. He ran he ran a 58 buyer last. Well, she ran a 58 buyer last time on on this surface, this all weather surface last time out. And just looking at what everybody else would have to do, I could make it like a couple of them are like could improve and get there, but she's also dropping down, so she's probably been facing better. I mean, there's a reason she's dropping. There's definitely a reason she's dropping down, but at the same time, it's like if she just runs back to a 58, I don't see anybody else in here that would win unless they really jumped up.
Yeah, it's not as big a drop as you think, though.
Yeah, it's
red.
Yeah.
I agree. That's the deserving favorite, though. And Saez does get on, and Saez and this trainer are basically 3 for 8 with the profitable ROI, and they're 3 for 6 at the meet. So Jaramillo, I don't know if it's Jaramillo in this race, but Jaramillo got shafted, and Saez is a huge upgrade. So, although I love Jaramillo, don't get me wrong, but I still think Saez is a big upgrade, and Saez isn't getting on this horse unless the horse is very live. So I can't disagree with your pick at all. I had a tough time. I'll give you both the horses I was looking at. One of them is Blame the Vets, who is also dropping from 35 to 16, but really kind of sucked in his last race. So I don't know how much I like that horse. It does show up on top of my sheet. Let me show you my sheet. Blame the Vets sitting there on top. It's it's a 1 over here on the race. It's a very weak opinion. If I was betting in a tournament, I can tell you right now, I'm taking the 5. Amazing Queen. Gets the plus grade. I give the plus to only one horse a race. This horse gets the plus because of this $16 of value. The horse goes from 9.7 to 1 to 2.9 to 1 on best odds. And the reason is, if you look here, the horse is running 6 furlong races and then jumps up off a short layoff to the route, and at the distance, at the level, gets completely ignored, 46 to 1, and runs an amazing second. at 46-1. And, you know, it's funny. Obviously, the horse is good. I mean, obviously, the horse is at the level. And these horses, you know, they don't get respected. Come back. Oh, it was a long shot. They don't get respected. I tell you, this horse is going to be a long shot and certainly is an overlay. Okay, that's all I can say. You run second at the level, and now you're coming right back. This is second time at the distance, second time on the poly. I think the horse certainly makes sense at 8-1.
I agree with you there.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the odds do, but it's a long shot, you know. Otherwise, I like the 7 and the 1, you know, that we already talked about.
Yeah. The only other one I had besides, because actually my next choice was the 5.
Oh yeah.
So yep, I had the 5 underneath. And the other one I had underneath was the 3. Living her best life.
Okay.
Just because a slight drop down, but also first time poly, going from turf to poly. Not sure how well it really translates here, but I just didn't really like a lot of the horses who had already tried poly besides the 7 and the 5. A lot of them I thought, so I was like, well, let me take an angle here on a horse that, I mean, the first race ran a 45 buyer. You know, if it can run a 45 buyer on the poly, probably at least picks up 3rd, maybe 4th here. I don't think this race is too competitive overall, but I mainly agree with you there with the 7 and the 5.
Okay. All right, let's scroll down to race 4. This is another tough one. And somehow Cielo de Oro is on top of the sheet. Horse is 0 for 11, taken 2nd and 3rd 7 times. Shipping down from Woodbine. Trainer is awful. Shipping down from Woodbine. Junior Alvarado up. This is a 9.5 furlong allowance. So very long. And his horse started in California and went to Woodbine. I don't know. It's not a very great pick. I don't think it's a great pick. The other horse I was looking at, you know, was a 7, but I can't really like the 7 off a 10-month layoff. But, you know, Safi and Gaffione, you know, that makes sense. And then the other one I kind of looked at a little bit was Scarabea, who last race raced against the boys and ran a very good 2nd. And this time gets back with the fillies. And then, you know, the distance I think is a good fit for Scarabea. Both times the horse ran 1.25 miles. The horse took 2nd. So it's a very tough race. I mean, maiden special weight. I don't know what you saw when you looked at it.
So I actually, with the exception of the 7, I agree with you on the first 2. I think the Cielo de Oro just seems to run well in every spot, but doesn't like the win.
Right.
If she's the favorite, then probably one that I would just key underneath and hope I can, you know, like just hope I get the price on top in like an exacta. She's 0 for 11. I have a hard time betting horses that are 0 for, you know, once they hit like 0 for 7, 0 for 8, even if they look great, I start trying to beat them because they're usually lower odds. The horse runs great on every surface. I agree with you about Scarabea. Looked really good last time against the boys. Mm-hmm. And besides that, has run well. So I'm definitely expecting her to improve. The other one I really liked is Sitting Pretty, the 5 horse. Mm-hmm. Ran all right last time at Woodbine. Wasn't fantastic, but her races at Belmont and Saratoga were all very good. I'm hoping that second time on poly improves her a little bit. Not a fan of Castellano taking them out. He's not having a great winner, but That's where I landed. Morning line has 9-2. I figured I'd probably, like, unless the horse is really live, I'll probably get at least 4-1 on it. Um, the 7 that you mentioned, the red light racer for Safi.
Yeah.
This is I tossed this horse because I have a personal rule that I do not bet Chad Brown horses on the dirt on the turf or poly if Chad couldn't get him the win.
Yeah.
That's I've just had that rule. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Chad got 3 shots to have this one break its maiden, and it couldn't, and they send it to Safi. Like, and I guess it's poly and it's not turf, so maybe. But if Chad can't get him home on the turf, I don't think anybody else is going to. He's the best turf trainer in my opinion in North America. So
Yeah.
I mean it is Safi in Florida, so anything can happen. But this is a favorite that I was going to try to beat personally because it's just one of my personal angles. I won't play it.
Yeah, well, it's I agree with you. I'm not going to play a 3-1 shot off a 10-month layoff. Something was going wrong. That's for sure. So I'm going to definitely no way I'll ever touch a horse off a 10-month layoff at 3-1. Okay, so I'm totally with you. The Chad Brown issues salt on the wound. So it's a tricky race, no doubt about it. I think this distance is a very important factor. I mean, they're going 1 3/16 and
Agreed.
that one, the one at least has some ability at the distance. And
Yep.
So does your 5. Okay, so does your 5. And the 2, by the way, the 2 also raced against the boys last time out.
Yep.
And ran extremely well. Actually had the lead. So, I mean, I feel like we got 3 good shots in there to beat that favorite. Let's hope that favorite gets bet. I mean, that's a toss for me. I don't care if that horse 6-5. I ain't touching it.
Right.
So,
and like my one note in this race also besides that is there's really a lack of speed in this race.
Yep.
Like looking at it, like I came up with the number 3 horse.
Yep.
Probably being the speed. So like I'm like as much as I like the 5 who wants to sit a few lengths back, I don't know if there's going to be much here. Like this could easily be a race where somebody just gets bold early and just nobody runs with them, sets a slow fraction, and then just takes them gate the wire. But I landed on the 5, just hoping that Clement can stay hot because he's 5 for 10 so far this meet.
Yeah.
So
I can't. I'd have to look closer. I'm giving out the 1 and 2, but I'm gonna have to look a little closer when push comes to shove. I'm probably leaning 1, but it's a close call between those 2. All right, I'm gonna give you honors back for race number 5. What are you thinking?
So I actually have a bit of a price, at least morning line price in here. We'll see.
Nice.
The 7 horse, Harajuku. I don't understand why this horse is 10-1 on the morning line. It came first race in North America. Horse gets bet in the Jockey Club Oaks Invitational, which that will probably end up being a graded stake. I want to say it'll probably end up being a graded stake in the next year or so. And got Ryan Moore riding in that race and ran 3rd. Comes back at Belmont. Didn't run great, but Fluffy Socks is a very good horse who would probably be odds on against this field.
Yep.
Who won that race, and she actually just ran 2nd over the weekend on an off the turf race at Santa Anita on their opening day. And then she comes back at 1.5 miles, and she sat a little bit closer to the pace than she usually does, and she fell apart late. But if she runs back to that Belmont, the Belmont Oaks there, like I don't see why she's 10-1 here. So she was going to be my price, hoping she could run back to that Belmont, the Jockey Club Oaks for him. Sorry. where she got bet that day. So I think she's very generous at 10-1. I don't think we can see anything at 10-1 on her.
Yeah, it's a good pick. Let me show you my sheet. So, you see this plus, the plus goes to Harajuku. Again, I only give one horse a plus a race. The plus is like basically my opinion of the best bet in the race, like where I think the value is, where I think the profit comes from, long term at least. So for all the reasons you just stated, I'm also on the 7 Harajuku. The other 2 horses I'm looking at, unfortunately, one is, and I don't like the price, 2-1 on Candy Flower. Candy Flower actually beat Harajuku in the last race, going 1.5 miles at Aqueduct. The horse has a habit of getting tired. Does have 4 wins though, including a win at Saratoga, which is damn impressive. But has he won at this long distance? Not really. This 1.3 miles, its distance is a little bit of a concern. The horse might tire late. I like the jockey, Jaramillo, aggressive jockey, young jockey. It's going to be giving Maker's horse everything it can do. So I think this Candy Flower is pretty legit. Beautiful Lover beat Candy Flower 2 back. And gets a little bit more rest coming in with size on board. So, I mean, but those are 2 short prices. And Harajuku is just a clear value. Now that both you and I have said it, maybe everyone else is going to see it too, and this horse is going to get bet down. But I think Harajuku makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I agree with you on. I really like Beautiful Lover as well. That's actually my second choice in here. Was Beautiful Lover, because I just think she's been running against much better horses.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, she lost to My Sister Nat 2 back, who almost won the turf there. That was the Philly Mare Turf. That was crazy.
That was shocking.
Yes, it was. The other horse that I just always think this horse looks good on paper, and has been a price. Hasn't run well in her last few, but Hungry Kitten.
Okay.
Horse just more times than not, I feel like the horse just looks good on paper for Chuck McGahee. Like all of his horses usually look good. Another one who's been running against very tough horses, and nothing went right at that. Broke from the 11 out of 12 that day at Aqueduct, where she ran 11th by 10. So, I mean, but besides that, she's been running against very good horses. So she's another one where, you know, she's around 10-1. I'm definitely going to use her in exactas in this race, just because I think she's got the talent to at least come underneath. And with the favorite, like you said, with Candy Flower, she kind of likes to tire. If she tires, I know that at least Hungry Kitten will be coming late. She might not get there, but if she can steal second, she'll definitely blow up the exacta price.
Yeah. All right, now we get to move to the next race, which is really tough. Let me scroll down. All right, so you can see it up there. The 6th race, maiden claiming, 5.5 furlongs on the Tapeta. The plus horse goes to this Can't Be Broken 12-1 morning line, who is 0 for 15 lifetime, has 1 second, and at this level has been crushed recently. Then you got the favorite, who is Awesome Family. That horse that's a horse I like, but I don't like taking 8-5 shots in maiden claiming. But the only other horses I can look at, you got Master Q. That horse is 0 for 15 with 1 exacta. You've got Mindship Q. That horse is 0 for 17 with no exactas. Boy, this is a tough This race is just full of absolute garbage.
Yeah.
So the 7 has only lost 4 times, and took second twice at the level. So I mean, I hate to take a short price. So I'm gonna, I think the 7 is probably the most likely winner, deserving favorite. I will take the 8. I'll take the 8 as my long shot, but I really hate this race. I'm just going to tell everyone right now, I hate this race. I have no clue, and I hate taking 8 to 5 shots in maiden claiming.
I agree with you. My note on this race, I wrote the least favorite race on the card. I don't like this race either, but I do like your 8 as a long shot. He was actually my long shot pick in this race as well. I mean, his last race wasn't great, but the 2 races before his first and second race on the poly are good enough, definitely good enough to contend here.
Yes.
And at 12-1, I was like, all right. I agree with you about taking short prices in these type of races. I completely understand. I do the same thing. And for that reason, I actually ended up on the 2 on top. GC Cam.
Yeah. Also, isn't proven to suck yet.
Right. He's only run 3 races.
Yeah.
The dirt race was terrible, but the turf races were decent, and he improved his speed figure in each turf start. He went from a 53 to a 59 buyer in the second turf start. Saez jumps on. And I mean, I got a feeling this horse is going to take money because Saez is on, but I just couldn't swallow 8-5 on Awesome Family, especially since he seems like a horse that wants the lead, but just hasn't been able to get the lead. And there's other speed in here. So it's not like if the 7 was lone speed, I think I probably would have just sucked it up and taken the chalk on top. But the 6, Admiral Truffles, likes to go, but is another one that doesn't like to hold on to the lead. And that was kind of the reason I landed on the 2. Was it looks like the 2 knows how to stalk a little bit, and he's passed some horses in the stretch, not a lot, but he has. So that was kind of my reasoning, was that if the horse takes to the poly like he did the turf, you might get a really good setup here.
Yeah. Listen, I got nothing against anyone can pick whatever horse they want in this race, and I'd say you got a shot. I don't like the 6-month layoff on the 2 and the workouts coming back. And yeah, size gets on board. That's the big factor, but I'm going to have to wait and see on that one. But this is the kind of race I'm not going to bet a lot of money, and I'm just going to try to enjoy myself. And I'm going to stick with that 8. Put a few bucks on it, and not it easily would be my tournament horse. I wouldn't even question it as a tournament horse. It's a great tournament horse, but I'm not touching that favorite, even though the favorite makes sense. And anyway, that's just the way I see it. All right, let's go back to you for race 7.
So yeah, race 7. I'm chalking out here. I'm going with this Pletcher horse, the Pletcher 2-year-old. So Determined.
Okay.
I love the pedigree. Big name ownership. They paid a lot of money for him. The debut was actually much better than it looked. Than that second place finish looks. Won easily next time out. And looking at this race, if there's one horse out of this race that has a shot of jumping up and being on the Derby trail as a 3-year-old, it's probably him. And for that reason, like he would actually be he'd be a single for me in the late sequence. He's chalk, but if there's one horse here that's got the talent to make noise later in the year, he seems like the one.
I got nothing wrong with your pick. I'm not going that direction, though. This is a state bred, right? So the 4, your pick, broke her maiden or broke his maiden in a state bred. And if you look at the 2, Cyber Viking, horse has 2 wins in open company at Gulfstream. So let me just go ahead and show that. I got to scroll down here. So gets the plus grade, gets the A, ranks second on my sheet, gets $10 of value. That's the highest score. The Biz Buzz Buzz, the top horse on my sheet, gets this 0.4 here. That means the horse is trying something new. And, that's not too good. That's the, what number was that again?
The 1.
The 1, Buzz Buzz Buzz.
Yeah, he's going turf to dirt.
Yeah, he's going turf to dirt. Okay, so is coming out of some stakes races. So, that's a positive. But so little shorter price, 3-1 to be taking, something new. I'd rather, if I was going to bet on a horse that's trying something new, I want to get a price. But the horse sits on top of my sheet. You got to respect that. But Cyber Viking gets the A+, gets this really powerful 1 here for PFDS odds, 2.7-1. That's the lowest in the race. And it's coming out of open company. I think this horse, I actually love this horse. This is probably maybe my best bet of the day. I know that's crazy. Chantal, don't have a lot of confidence in Chantal, but 27% with this trainer. They do well together. They both win more. So Chantal's already won on this horse once, knows what to expect. Now the race is 7 furlongs. That's a factor. And what I look at for 7 furlongs on my sheet is I like to see the early speed. Is this column here? See, and you got late speed. So I like to see those numbers kind of close together. Okay. Whereas Biz Buzz Buzz 101.73, I don't like that. Okay. I want to see those numbers kind of close together. Like yours is great. So Determined, 89.91. That's a horse that's going to stretch out no problem. But that horse might actually need to stretch out even farther. This 7 furlongs may not be long enough. Whereas this 92.87 is a really nice look to it. So I like your 4. Your 4 makes sense. Also gets an A. Gets 3 1s in my rank column. But I'm going to go with Cyber Viking at the price. 4.5 to 1, man. I hope I get that. And I think that's a legitimate, really good bet.
Yeah, if he can stretch out, he's definitely dangerous. That was actually kind of the reason that I actually landed on the 4 over the 2 was I'm a big pedigree guy, and looking at this pedigree, I feel like this is a horse that 6 furlongs is 6.5 is kind of where he wants to go, and 7 is really going to be pushing it. Yeah. I won't be shocked if he goes gate the wire, but I feel like right when they hit that 6 furlong mark, I won't be surprised if he's in the lead. But I feel like if somebody else is running, I think somebody will probably get to him late. So that was kind of my reasoning for not going with the 2 was I just don't think this pedigree wants 7. But if they leave him alone, Gulfstream is the track that will carry a horse that sets a good fraction up front. So it won't.
Well, listen, you're picking a good horse out of Into Mischief, sold for $875,000. Get size on board. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Maybe my horse runs second underneath Cyber Viking. Cyber Viking comes out of the Big Beast, who I don't even know who that is.
Oh, he was a fan favorite sprinter a few years back. he ran at Saratoga a couple times. I cashed on him.
This is a $12,000 2-year-old. They're losing money on $12,000. Okay, so this is I'm taking the underdog, but I understand your pick makes complete sense. Can't argue with you there.
And I do like the top pick on your sheet, but Biz Buzz.
Yeah.
He's a live oak homebred. They bred him and they own him. and they usually don't keep like ownerships like that usually don't keep the ones that they don't think will be good. So, I mean, maybe he is a turf horse because he's run very well on the turf, and they're
Right.
just trying this out to get him a race. But I would expect that we see something like that. This horse is running decently as a 3-year-old as the year turns. Just because I mean, even some of the horses he's run against, Slipstream has run decent since. Dr. Jeff has run okay since. So he's run against some good horses too.
He has taken a tough road. I don't like it's the 5th race of his form cycle. This horse has been running. Okay.
Agreed.
So the horse might need a little breather, get him ready for his 3-year-old year. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Interesting race. Your 4 might completely blow the field away. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm gonna take a stab at that too. All right, for the finale, we got a 5 furlong sprint. Wow, we open and finish with 5 furlong sprint stakes.
Yep.
I haven't looked at this race too much, fell behind, but I kind of like Introduced, who's 8 for 20 lifetime. And so it's a win machine and likes the distance. And do I have it on my graph here? Yeah, I'm showing it. So it gets the A. So the 5 gets the A plus. So, maybe I should be taking that horse. But I think they're just so equal. They're basically equal horses. Look at, and like this energy column, 90, 91, really equal. I mean, I can't go against the 5 either, but I felt like the 2 was a little better value at 4.5 to 1. Not a lot of value in this race. Only gets a 1 over here. What'd you see?
I actually saw the same. I landed on Introduced actually as my top pick.
Okay.
He actually, the last 2 times that the 5 and the 2 have raced each other, the 2 has won.
Yeah. That's right.
And then the 5 ran a very strong race last time out, but the 2 wasn't in it.
Right.
But the race that the 2 came out of, the horse that won, Too Sexy, is actually a very good horse. So that was a tough race, even though it was an ungraded stake. So yeah, I agree with you on the 2 and actually it looks like looking at your chart, your top 3 are the same top 3 I have, just different. I have 257, I believe. Yeah, it's the 7. 257.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mine says 527, but if I'm betting it 257. Just because I think for the reasons you stated, the 2 I think is a little bit better. But I think the 5 ended up getting that plus because of the form cycle. The horse is making second start off a layoff. So that you see this little green 2-3. If the horse is making second or third start off the layoff, they get that. So Miss Aramet, has that going for it. But whereas Introduced is actually coming off a layoff of 2 months, which is not bad. Not a bad thing at all. Interesting race. Good way to finish the day. Does look a little formful, a little chalky. Not a great race, I don't think, to pick a long shot.
I agree. I didn't see outside those top 3. Yeah, I feel like you're kind of splitting hairs on taking a long shot and hoping they come up with something for you.
Anyway, C Money and John Wilbanks have been tuning in. Thanks, guys. I just now noticed your guys' comments. No questions for us or anything, but they've been chatting. Any other final comments on this great Gulfstream card for tomorrow? By the way, I'm winning this tournament I'm in. I'm going to win that thing.
No, the card looks good, and I think the early and late pick 5. I think if you press your opinion, you're right. I think these are very hittable sequences. I think.
Let's talk late pick 5 for a second. What's a race that you would try to take a stand?
A race I would try to take a stand in. Let's see here. I'm just going over these last few races here.
Well, while you're thinking about it, I'll give mine out. I'm singling Cyber Viking. I know it's crazy because you got So Determined in there, but that's my pick. I would basically put my pick 5 on that horse. It's pretty hard. I think there's a couple races to go deep. That's 5 and 6, and then go skinny in races 4 and 8. And I would probably try to single Cyber Viking.
That's fair. I think if I was playing this, I'm thinking on race 5. I'm trying to beat Candy Flower. Maker's Barn has been kind of cold lately.
Okay.
And I think as a favorite, that's a favorite. I think I would try to beat. I don't know how many. I think I'd probably just try to use the 3 and the 7, and that's it there. So you second choice and long shot. And then I think the other one I would take a stand on is race 6. I think I would try to beat. I think I'd try to beat Awesome Family.
Okay.
And that would be. I feel like that's the race 6 is one of those races where, like, if you have the bankroll, like, use all the horses you like. But if you're trying to play a skinny ticket, I feel like this is one of those races that's a separator, because I feel like you're either going to get people singling the 7, or you're going to have everybody hitting all, like, people hitting all here, because it's a very low graded race.
If the 7 loses, anyone can win.
Right.
And the 7 is not very likable, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I think race 7 is the one to take a stand. Of course, I'm talking 2, you're talking the 4. But that's a good race. Only 6 horses in it. Try to put your money on it. Put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
And yeah. Anyway, fun getting to know you, Vinny, and fun handicapping with you. I hope we could do it again. I'm going to have a little rotation. I'll let you know if you're interested in coming back. Hopefully you will. And I really enjoyed meeting you. Enjoyed handicapping with you today.
Yeah, no, not a problem. Definitely keep me in mind when you need somebody, and if I can make it work on my schedule, I will make it work. I always like talking horses.
Picks by Dynasty. One final thing I forgot to tell everybody: my picks for Gulfstream, my chart is free for tomorrow. So if you go to my chart, chartinghorsevalue.com, and you go to the free page, you can get the Gulfstream chart I just showed on the video. You get it for free. So I hope everyone does well with it. If you want to become a customer, it's only $25 a month. You get access to every pick I do. I do every single racetrack in America. And it's a great tool. I won't even tell you how many customers I got. It's a lot. And they like the product, and I hope you'll come and join. And good luck this weekend, everybody. Happy New Year. And we'll talk again soon. Take care.